Sudan's military has overthrown and arrested President Omar al-Bashir, and it has taken charge of the country for the next 2 years. The move came after nearly 4 months of protests against Bashir's rule. Sudan's defense minister made the announcement on television. He says that after 2 years, free and fair elections will be held. He also says a state of emergency has been imposed for the next 3 months and that the military has suspended the Constitution and closed the borders and airspace. Our Gary Lane joins us now with more on the situation in Sudan. Welcome, Gary.
Glad to be here, Mark.
Well, first of all, is the military basically in control now, and is that a good thing?
Yes, the military is in control. Well, it depends on your perspective. If you're in the military, it is a good thing, but the people who've organized these protests are saying, no, it's not a good thing. This is not what we were looking for. It's one thing to get rid of Omar al-Bashir, the dictator of Sudan, but his people are still in place. And Mark, that would be like impeaching President Trump, but still having Pompeo and Pence, all of his cabinet members, all the people of the deep state as well, and that's what they still have in Sudan.
Well, what's been happening that's ultimately led to Bashir's arrest?
Let me back up just a little bit. Omar al-Bashir came to power in 1989 as part of a military coup, and he quickly imposed Sharia law, Islamic law, on the people. And that meant women had to have their heads covered, they had to wear burqas, they were mistreated, Christians were persecuted. He led a war for 20 years against the Christians of South Sudan. Finally, they became independent, and also committed all kinds of atrocities against the people of Darfur. And for that, he has an arrest warrant out, an international arrest warrant, from the International Criminal Court for the atrocities in Darfur. So that's the background. What happened back in December of last year, protests began over poor economy. The price of bread increased, and people weren't happy with that. They couldn't make ends meet. So these protests started last December. They intensified this spring. And now in April, mass protests demanding the removal of Omar al-Bashir. The military has agreed, and they went and arrested him today.
So 2 years from now, can we really expect fair elections, and what can we expect going forward for the people of Sudan?
That isn't what the people who organized this protest, the Sudan Professionals Association, wanted. They want elections right away. They don't want the military in control. They would like a civilian board to oversee the transition to free and fair elections. And unless, Mark, there is pressure from the international community on this military regime now that has imposed emergency law on the country, I was going to say martial law, but it's like martial law. Unless there's pressure on them, they're not going to back down. But if there's international pressure, they may agree to have elections sooner than 2 years.